Hi, welcome. So, let us start the journey of a very important subject, which is very interesting also, and in my opinion, every citizen should have some knowledge of this subject, and that is called polity. You know, polity is different from politics. Politics is the applied branch, polity is the subject of that. Like doing management is different from doing MBA. Similarly, understanding polity and doing politics, they are two different things. Now, polity in this particular subject, we understand something about, if I tell you roughly, Indian Constitution, which is the main law of our country, and after Indian Constitution, and then we know more about various organs of government or the state, and something like Parliament and judiciary, executives. We learn about this. So, whenever a country is born, then how to run that country? So, by which laws we have to run that country? We need to write those laws in a book, which is very important and supreme for all the organs of government, and everybody must follow it. That document is called Constitution of that country. Normally, it is written once only in the life of a country. When the country is born, then it is written. Though there are changes can be done, but at the same time, changes should not be done to the extent which kills its spirit. So, in our country, if you see India, the government, we will call a term state also to the government. So, do not understand the term state with the state governments like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu. It is not that state. State means government here in polity as a subject. So, government or state, is having different organs, like judiciary is there, you must be knowing, parliament is there, then executives are also of two categories like permanent and temporary, and they all draw the power from constitution. Who has written constitution? Though Constituent Assembly was made for that, but in the constitution preamble, that is the introduction to constitution, it is written that we the people of India are supreme, and we have written this constitution for ourselves. You know, India is a democratic country, largest democracy in the world. So, that simply means rule of the people, for the people, by the people. So, that is the meaning of democracy, and here people are supreme. But because people elect their representatives through elections, elections are taking place in 3 tiers as of now. Elections in general elections for parliament, which take place after 5 years, and then the state elections in the state government, for state governments. Right now you see Uttar Pradesh elections, Punjab, and all these elections are going on, and then Panchayati Raj and municipalities elections. So 3-tier government, but every organ of government draws its powers from constitution. So let's go to history. World War II, 1939 to 45. World War II was having two powers, Allied and Axis power. Allied powers mein UK was there, America was there, Russia was there, and Axis mein there was Germany and all, Japan and all. So Allied powers won the war, as you know, and India was thrown into war because British were ruling our country. At the end of the Second World War, 1945, it was clear that now the UK will not remain the power, England will not be the power. New powers emerged out, Russia, USSR that time, and America. And now countries were to get independence, and also our freedom fighters were fighting for independence. So 1945 mein things were clear. 1946 mein cabinet mission, cabinet minister, 3 cabinet ministers from England came. From England, 3 cabinet rank ministers came to India to discuss what can be done. That is called cabinet mission. That came in India in 1946, and the output of that was, let's create Constituent Assembly. Now, what is a Constituent Assembly? The assembly or group of people who will write constitution for India. This process started in 1946. At that time, India, there were 2 political, I'll say groups. One was Indian National Congress, and there was Muslim League also, Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Muslim League. So Muslim League wanted separate country, 2 nation theory by Jinnah, separate country on the basis of religion. For Muslims, Pakistan. Cabinet mission did not accept it cabinet mission said no, there cannot be two countries, only one country or something, though then there were some kind of clashes and all. So cabinet mission wanted that okay, let's create a country and let's create a common constituent assembly. So in the beginning Muslim League accepted it, that let's create a constituent assembly. Muslim League members were part of that, but later on they left it, and then Constituent Assembly number of membership reduced, and largely it was Indian National Congress members in Constituent Assembly. So they wrote constitution in 3 years, couple of days less than 3 years, I think 18 days less than 3 years. 1946 to 1949 they wrote the constitution, and 26th November 1949 we accepted constitution. And that means the president of Constituent Assembly, our first president of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, signed, and with members they signed the constitution, and but it came into force after 2 months, 26 January 1950, because 26 January was a historic date for us, because on this day in 1930 we celebrated Purna Swaraj Day. So we wanted 26 January to be the date. So our story from history to politics starts from here, cabinet mission plan. And I want to tell you that it was not the first time that Indians were writing constitution for themselves. In 1928 there was a Nehru report, Nehru senior, Motilal Nehru, under his presidentship one constitution was written, that is called Nehru report. Simon Commission visited India, and Lala Lajpat Rai episode, so go Simon go back, so those kind of agitation. And then British challenged India that you cannot write constitution for yourself, but that time we were having all these great lawyers, so they wrote constitution. British did not accept it, but yes, that was the first attempt by Indians to write the constitution for them in the form of Nehru report. Now under cabinet mission plan 1946 elections were held for the first time for Constituent Assembly, and Indian constitution was drafted by Constituent Assembly. So it was and this entire Constituent Assembly, the formation of Constituent Assembly was under this cabinet mission plan 1946, and there were 3 cabinet rank ministers. You should know the names: Lord Patrick Lawrence, Sir Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander. These were the names of cabinet ministers who visited India. So this sometime and they favored India's unity. They said that okay, separation should not be there. So separation was done later on when Lord Mountbatten came to India as last Viceroy cum Governor General. So that time, because there was havoc created by Muslim League, so then partition was done. At that time it was not the partition. So what is cabinet mission? Who became the Prime Minister of England after Second World War was Lord Attlee, and Lord Attlee made historic announcement. He said that okay, constitution, Indians should be allowed to make constitution for them. So he sent these 3 cabinet ministers to India, which is called cabinet mission, and they wanted to resolve this particular problem. So they said okay, let's create a constitution for India. So making of constitution has a long story, but certain things only, certain dates only you should know about making of constitution. The most important date is 26 November 1949, the day on which constitution was approved or accepted. Signature were done, and it came into force. We became a republic on 26 January, and we celebrate this even today. We celebrate this as Republic Day. First time the Constituent Assembly met first time on 9th of December. Parliament, which is now known as Central Hall. So Jawaharlal Nehru moves 8-point objective resolution, which later on became Preamble. So what is the Preamble today, which is the introduction to constitution? The draft of that Preamble was moved forward by Nehru, and that is called objective resolution. So these are 8 members panel appointed with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as chairman to prepare draft constitution. So draft constitution was made, and the chairman to the draft constitution was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad was president of Constituent Assembly, and also he became the first president of India. Now this is the preamble of Constitution of India. We the people of India, that means what is the meaning of we the people of India? That means we have written this constitution for us, we are the supreme. And what kind of democratic republic India is? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. If you see that this 42nd amendment during emergency, when Indira Gandhi imposed emergency in 1975 to 77, in 1976 Indira Gandhi as a prime minister, she almost changed entire constitution, and 42nd amendment act is called mini constitution because so many articles were changed. So by 42nd amendment, sovereign, democratic republic, these terms were added. Sovereign, these particular terms were not earlier there, so these terms were added, and it became sovereign democratic republic. So unity of nation was also added into this. So India is what kind of republic? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So I think word sovereign, secular, these were added later on into this. We will discuss that amendment. So sovereign democratic republic to sovereign socialist secular democratic republics. Okay, so these words socialist and secular and unity and integrity of nation, these were added later on. So what was added? Socialist, secular and integrity. These words were added later on into the preamble through 42nd Amendment Act. That is what we should know. So preamble can also be amended, and this was amended. This is the preamble of constitution. So what it tells you, that people are the supreme and people have made this constitution for us. So this is the preamble of Indian constitution. Who is the father of Indian constitution? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the president of drafting committee of constitution, and he is known as father of Indian constitution. So drafting committee had 7 members, including chairman Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So these were the members of drafting committee, and this was the most important committee of Indian constitution. Now constitution was written in 3 years, almost it took 3 years, and there were 11 sessions, 299 members were involved, and the chief architect of Indian constitution is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and it is the longest constitution of the world with now more than 400 articles. Now there are 25 parts and 12 schedules. So we will update this, all the things. So this is some of the features of constitution, and there are members, the members of Indian constitution. So first attempt, as I told you, for making Indian constitution was done by Nehru report. So that was 1928. Then Rajendra Prasad, B.R. Ambedkar, Sarojini Naidu, they were members actually, so of the Constituent Assembly. What was Nehru report? So this was presented in 1928 when British said that Indian cannot make the constitution for itself, and this report wanted that Indian be given dominion status for self-governance. Actually, Indian at that time were demanding for the self-governance, Swaraj, something like that. So they were asking British that we should be given more power to rule ourselves. Who were the prominent members of Constituent Assembly? B.R. Ambedkar, as I told you, and who was the constitutional advisor was B.N. Rao. Jawaharlal Nehru later on became Prime Minister. Vallabhbhai Patel became the Minister of Home. Kripalani, President of Indian National Congress at the time of independence. Constitution of India is one of the longest constitution in the world, that was written in English and Hindi, these 2 languages. Declared country as sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. It took 3 years, 18 days, less than 3 years to make this constitution. Now if you see, Indian constitution was written after taking important features from different constitutions of the world. At that time, whatever constitution we were having, so Indian constitution was written after taking the important features from different constitution. And that important question, यहाँ से एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आता है, दे आस्क यू इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम हेयर. हमने जर्मनी से क्या लिया? नेशनल इमरजेंसी प्रोविजंस. व्हाट हैव वी टेकन फ्रॉम यूएसएसआर? नाउ इट इज रशिया. फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, and ideas of justice. What have we taken from French? Liberty, equality, fraternity. Preamble mein if you see what they have written, that we have taken from French. So JLEF, you need to remember it as JLEF. If you see this constitution, see the first word JLEF. So this LEF we have taken from French constitution. Liberty, equality, fraternity, these terms we have taken from French constitution. So maximum features which Indian constitution, present Indian constitution has taken maximum features from Government of India Act 1935. So 60% of Government of India Act 1935 was borrowed in our present day constitution. So what we have taken, federal structure of government we have taken from Government of India Act 1935. So what is federal structure? We will discuss that. We have taken from US the judicial review, independent judiciary, impeachment process, and removal of judges. That is what we have taken from USA. So maximum features have taken from Government of India Act 1935. This federal feature, especially what is federal feature, we will discuss, that we have taken from 35. Then US, what we have taken from US? We have taken judicial review, we have taken independent judiciary. Judiciary is very powerful in India as well as US. Impeachment procedure of president and all, and removal of judges. What we have taken from British? Rule of law and parliamentary form of government. Here US mein there is a presidential form of government, but India there is a parliamentary form of government. So that we have taken from here. Cabinet system, legislative procedure. So judiciary and everything we have taken from here, parliament and everything we have taken from this. Ireland say directive principle of state policy we have taken from Ireland. Australia say concurrent list and joint sitting of both the houses. So there are 3 lists, I will discuss that later on, that we have taken from here. Canada say we have taken that we are federation with strong center. India is a federation which is strong, center or state. Center is very strong. So if there is any country which is a huge country, center if it is strong, it helps to stabilize the country, except US which was created from different way. So Canada is a from there we have taken federation with strong center, and residually powers we have taken from this. And amendment to constitution, how to amend a constitution, that we have taken from South Africa. So exam mein one question comes from here, we have taken what information from which constitution, right? So just revise this slide, this is very important, that what feature we have taken from which constitution of the world, that is important. Now Constitution of India is the world's lengthiest constitution, and what are some features which we should know are how many schedules we have. So Indian Constitution is a main law of land, it is a book. That book has a chapter, so there are 25 chapters or parts, and at the end of that book there are 12 schedules, appendix, I mean details are mentioned there, and there are more than 400 articles. Articles are written. Those articles are divided into 25 parts, and amendment means changing the constitution. Indian constitution is changed very frequently, it has been changed, so 122 amendments, and it is a written document, right? So what are the 25 parts? I don't think you need to remember all the parts. I will discuss with you what parts are most important for you to revise, but there are 25 parts, and each part has certain article. Like part 1 talks about union and its territories, India as a union, and what are the territories of India. So that article 1 to 4 covers that. Similarly part 2 has citizenship, and articles are 5 to 11 citizenship. Similarly part 3 fundamental right, so 12 to 35 articles are in the fundamental right. Fundamental duties are mentioned under part 4A. Now part 4 is directive principle of state policy, but part 4A is fundamental duties. What is the meaning of A? That means this was incorporated, added later on through amendment. Earlier fundamental duties were not added in Indian constitution. So this article 51A, capital A means amendment maybe. So it was amended. Either you can say it is amendment, or you can say 51 is already there. So now let's 51 and 52. What we will create between 51 and 52? Let's create 51A, 51B, something like that. So wherever you get, like 243 A, O, P, R, so whatever you get alphabet, that means it is added, incorporated later on. Panchayats and municipalities, so they were added later on. So these are the parts, and corresponding articles related to the parts. So some parts are very, very important, from exam perspective. He might ask you in which part fundamental duties are there, fundamental rights are there, directive principle of state policies are mentioned in which part of Indian Constitution, and which part contains the Panchayati Raj. So if I tell you which are most important is, okay, part 1 union and territories, part 2 citizenship, part 3 fundamental right, part 4 directive principle of state policy, part 4a fundamental duties, that is important. Then part 9a, that is panchayat and municipalities. After that comes I think elections, part 15 is important. Elections are conducted. So what are the elections? Part 18 emergency provisions, and part 20, that is the amendment to constitution. So these are the important parts for your revision for exam. Now what are the features of Indian Constitution? Number 1, it is lengthiest constitution drawn from different sources, federal system with unitary feature. So what is federal form, what is unitary form? I will discuss with you that. Parliamentary form of government, and independent and integrated judicial system. In India, the judicial system is independent and integrated. Supreme Court connected to High Court, connected to District Court, integrated. Directive principles. Indian Constitution is rigid, but it is flexible also. Rigid, but you can change it also. So if you see, Indian Constitution, as I told you, divides the powers between different organs of the state. I told you there are 3 organs of the state or government. There are 3 bodies of the government: legislature, judiciary and executive. So all organs have been given their own role and authorities and power, and there should not be any interference. I mean, judiciary is to do its job, executive are to do their job, legislative is to do their job, and all these 3 organs are to work under the powers given by constitution to these organs for the country and for the people. So there is a check and balance. Judiciary actually will, who will make the laws? Legislature. Who will implement the laws? Executive. Who will see that laws are properly made or not? Judiciary. So verification of the laws, whether they are made as per constitution or not, that is judiciary. Making of the laws, that is legislature. This is how it goes. What are the 12 schedules of Indian Constitution which you should know? These are the 12 schedules. So this 11th and 12th schedules are for panchayats and municipalities. So this schedule 10 is related to anti-defection law. So if somebody changes the political party, he can be declared as not now the legal member of some legislature. So this is the anti-defection law. And 7th schedule contains the list: union list, state list, concurrent list, that is the 7th schedule. 5 and 6 are mentioning about scheduled tribe areas and scheduled areas, etc. And oath and promises of some dignitaries is mentioned schedule 3, and state and union territories, their names and boundaries is mentioned under schedule 1. That is how it is. So the way to remember all these 12 schedule, there is some kind of this method to remember this. So mnemonics to remember. So tiers of old prime minister: T territory, E emoluments or salaries, A affirmations or oath, R Rajya Sabha, S talks about scheduled area, O talks about other scheduled areas, F federal provisions, 3 list, O official language. So whatever is mentioned in those 12 schedules, this is the way to memorize those 12 schedules. Now what is federal and unitary form of government? Now remember, India is having central government also and state governments also. But state government is not powerful in India. So federal is that thing in which state government should exist. Typical federal form of government is United States. There are 50 states and every state has got its own existence. Central government cannot play with the existence of the state. But in India, state government does not have any existence. We have seen in Jammu and Kashmir, if center wants, then state can be created into union territory or its existence can be finished. Or Telangana, we have seen Andhra Pradesh was divided into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So central government is all powerful in India as far as the power is concerned. Can central government one fine day decide that no state, only central government? Answer is no. That is a federal form. That means in federal form, state governments exist and they have power. So typical federal means states are very powerful. India is not very powerful, states are not powerful. States exist but they are not powerful. So India is like a tortoise, system of tortoise. Tortoise has all the legs. All the legs means they are states. But at the time of emergency, all the legs are folded and one unit, we become one unit. So unitary feature is very strong. And that is required because in India is a diverse country. Different religion, different cultures, different ethnicities. So to maintain unity and integrity, India has to be strong center. India center has to be strong. Otherwise, one state will say, I want to get separate from the rest of Indian Union. That should not be there. So India is a federal, that means states also coexist with center, but center is powerful. So what are the federal government means? There will be central and there will be state. What is unitary government? Typically unitary government means there will not be any state. Example, England. England means there is no state, there is only one country. So small countries can afford to become unitary, but large country cannot be unitary because states need to be there. And if I am not wrong, even Sri Lanka is unitary country, it is not having states. Federal is center and state. So political powers are shared, there is a prime minister, there is a chief minister. But in this case, in England, you will not find chief minister, only prime minister. Constitution is rigid, federal make constitution is rigid, and all the center and state governments draw their powers from constitution. In England, there is no written constitution at all. England, you don't have a written constitution. So there are central law, there are state laws, only one kind of law. So what is India, where India fits? India actually is federal because India has a unitary feature also. India has the state governments also, but the unitary features are very strong. Center is very strong in India. Which countries are typically unitary? England. Which country is typically federal? America. So you should know that. Now, Indian federal system, Constitution of India provides for a federal system of government, though the term federation is nowhere mentioned. If you read Constitution article 1 of Indian Constitution, it is written that India, that is Bharat, shall be union of state. Though India is a federal form of government, but federal word is not mentioned. Only union word is mentioned. Federal is not mentioned. The word mentioned is union of states. India is a union of states. Article 1 says that. So Constitution of India mentions India as a basically union of states. So India is a federal form, but unitary features are very strong. So as I already told you what is the meaning of unitary and federal form. So India is a federal form, but with strong unitary features. In India we do not have dual citizenship. We are not citizen of Maharashtra and citizen of India. We are only citizen of India. But in America you are citizen of state also. So if you are residing in a particular state, like Oklahoma state, let us say, you are a citizen of that state also. So in India you do not have that. So India is not a typically federal, nor India is typically unitary. India is a mixed model where India is a federal but with a strong unitary feature. If everything is going okay, state governments can be, they can enjoy the power. But if emergency situation comes, if we impose emergency at the time of war or something, central government assumes all the powers. That is the meaning of Indian federation system. So what is a parliamentary and what is a presidential form of government? Parliamentary form of government means prime minister will be the head of parliament and prime minister is the real executive, something like India. In India president is there, but president is a nominal head. Actual power president के पास नहीं है. President is elected indirectly by people, not directly. But prime minister is basically is the leader of the political party which is largest, which has largest majority in the parliament. And people are, MPs are directly elected by people. So in presidential form, president is directly elected by people, something like USA. US presidential form of government. So president is there. And prime minister is a member of parliament also. But here president is not a member of parliament. Parliament can be here also. In US also there is a parliament which is called Congress. In India also there is a president, but that is a nominal head. So president is a head of state also and head of the government also. In India, head of the state is president, head of the government is prime minister. Prime minister is more powerful, but name will go of president. So constitutionally, if there is only one chair in the room, who will sit on that chair? President will sit on that chair, because उसको ज़्यादा आप respect देते हैं और ज़्यादा आप उसको value देते हैं for these things. But before president sit, he will ask prime minister, can I sit? Because real power is prime minister. So whatever president will do, president is to ask council of minister headed by prime minister. We will discuss those terms. But India is a parliamentary form of government, and US is presidential form of government. So parliament members can elect their new prime minister. So legislature and president are different things. Congress in US is different from president. So this is how these two form of governments are separate. What do you mean by republic? India is a republic. What is the meaning of republic? Is the representative of public. Representative of public. That means when head of the state means country, when head of the country is representative of public. In India, representative of public, that means who is elected directly or indirectly by public, will be representative of the state, will be the head of the state. So our president is the head of the state, and after every 5 years he is re-elected. We choose new president for us. If it is not republic, what else is this? Then it can be monarchy. You go for England or Japan, you will find head of the state is not elected, is by birth. Like in England, Queen is head of the state. Prime Minister of England is a real power, but Queen is the representative of the country. She is the head of the state. So supreme power is basically supreme power resides in citizens, and they only elect their representative as head of the state. So if it is not your republic, then it is the monarchy system. So head of the state is always elected directly or indirectly for fixed period, unlike monarchy. So if it is not republic, it is monarchy. This is the meaning of it. Now if you want to prepare general awareness, general studies for public sectors, then you need to prepare in this way. Most important things, try to enhance your understanding, because there is no limit of the syllabus, huge syllabus. So you need to revise these things slowly, so that you can do really good in public sector exams. So little bit information on polity, history, current affair, all these things should be mixed together, so that when you go to exam, you can answer some of the questions. Take these slides, prepare well. Thank you.